Good morning, everyone. My name's Valerie, and I'm very glad to start the day with you. This morning, I want to share some thoughts from a verse that just leapt off the page to me as we've been studying the life of Joseph. And it's Genesis 39, verse 5. And it says, "From the day Joseph was put in charge of his master's household and property, the Lord began to bless Potiphar's household for Joseph's sake. All his household affairs ran smoothly, and his crops and livestock flourished." And it was that phrase, "for Joseph's sake," that just grabbed me. Even in Joseph's slavery, God was working. God was blessing Potiphar, but it was for Joseph's sake. And this phrase just made me think about all those mercies that God is doing for my sake, all the mercies he's doing for your sake. They may look like someone else's gain. I mean, certainly Joseph was still a slave in this scenario, and sometimes they don't even look connected with us, but nevertheless, God is up to something. God was up to something in Joseph's life, and I know he's up to something in my life and your life too. It reminded me of that first phrase from Romans 8:28, which is a very familiar verse to many of you. But that first phrase is so reassuring. "And we know that in all things God works." God is not passively just observing our lives. He's at work in our lives. And you may be in a season that feels isolating, but God is working. You may feel stuck, but God is not stuck, and he's working. Or you may just feel like life is just one giant routine, the same after day, but God is working. And isn't that freeing? It's freeing for me, because if I don't think God's at work, then I'm going to be tempted to try to manipulate circumstances or people for my sake, for my gain. But I can rest, you can rest, knowing that God is at work, and he's at work for our sake. As we go about our day to day, let's take in our tasks, knowing that what seems daily to us is really a part of God's work in our lives. Or maybe if you're in a tough place today, just write down that phrase, "for my sake," to remind yourself again and again that God is at work. There's a song that we've been singing for the last year or so. It's called Waymaker, and it has this bridge about God's work. And it says, "Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working." And that was Joseph's testimony. And you know what? It's ours too. God is working, and he's working for your sake. I look forward to seeing you at church this weekend. It's going to be a special weekend as we launch TLC in Espanol. Please be praying, especially for Julian and his team. I hope you enjoy this day that God has given you.